Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I invite you to picture a scene. It is a crisp autumn evening. The sun is setting over a quiet field behind Joe's house. Two friends, Joe and Peter, are excitedly preparing for their upcoming hunting trip. The air is filled with the metallic clink of beer cans being set up on rocks, makeshift targets for a bit of a casual practice. It is a scene of friendship and practice and anticipation. Two friends sharing a passion for the outdoors. Little did they know that this ordinary night would take an extraordinary and tragic turn. During this trial, you'll hear about a statute, assault while hunting. At first glance, it might sound straightforward, even self-explanatory. But as with many things in both life and law, the devil, as they say in the details, is in the details. And it's these details that I urge you to pay close attention to as this case unfolds. This statute at the heart will have four elements: causing bodily injury, which leads to through criminal negligence, while hunting in pursuit of wild game or birds with a dangerous weapon. Now let's address the big elephant in the room. Yes, Peter's actions that night resulted in the injury. His rifle discharged and a bullet did strike Joe. That cannot be disputed. But it was a regrettable accident. A moment that I'm sure Peter relives with anguish and hurt every day. But the question before us today is not whether an accident occurred, but whether this accident constitutes assault while hunting as defined by the law. As this case unfolds, you will see that Peter wasn't hunting that night. He was setting up targets, preparing for a fun adventure with his friend Joe. He wasn't stalking through the woods or fields pursuing wild game. He was in Joe's backyard, a range of tin cans on rocks. Yes, a wild turkey occurred, nature's unexpected guest in this suburban setting. And yes, Peter, in a moment of impulse, considered taking a shot. But I ask you to consider this carefully. Is a fleeting thought the same as an active pursuit? Is it? Is a moment's impulse a split second consideration? I'll give you time to think about that one as well. Can we equate the sudden appearance of wildlife with the intentional pursuit of game? Throughout this trial, you will be asked to grapple with these questions. You will hear testimony from both Joe and Peter about the events of that night. You will examine evidence about their plans, their actions, and the unfortunate outcome. And ultimately, you will need to decide, was Peter truly hunting that night, or was he simply a man with his friend innocently preparing for a future trip? The prosecution bears a heavy burden in this case. They must prove every element of this crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Every single element. As you listen to the evidence suggested, I urge you to consider carefully. Can they really prove that Peter was in pursuit of wild game that night? Can they demonstrate that this backyard target practice truly constitutes hunting as defined by the law? Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about more than just a hunting incident. It is about the precision of law, the weight of words, and the critical difference between preparation and pursuit. It is about the statute that demands we look closely at the circumstances, not just the unfortunate outcome. It's about ensuring that we apply the law as it is written, not as we might emotionally react to a tragic situation. As we proceed through this trial, I'll also ask that you keep an open mind. I urge you to examine the facts critically, to question assumptions, and to remember that sometimes things are not as simple and straightforward as you think they are. The law requires precision, and it is my duty, our duty. It is our duty to get to the bottom of it. It is my duty as the defense counsel and your duty as jurors to ensure that this precision is maintained. Remember, Peter stands before you not as a reckless hunter, but as a man caught in a series of unfortunate events. He's a friend in a nightmare scenario. As you listen to the testimony and examine the evidence, I ask you to put yourself in Peter's shoes. Consider the difference between intent and accident, between pursuit and preparation. Do you really think Peter was out to harm his friend? Do you really think that this was something that was deliberate and planned? Ask yourself that. Thank you for your attention and your commitment to justice. I'm confident that as you hear the full story, you'll see that while this case involves a tragic accident, it does not meet the legal definition of assault while hunting. Thank you for your time.